Hey there, it's Andrea, and welcome to the Voice of Influence podcast. This is the end of 2022. What a year. What a couple of years it has been. Personally, it's been quite the year. Some things have happened in my personal life I lost my mom. And there have been a number of things over the past year that have been amazing. We've had great growth as a company, but then there have also been the hard things. And I'm sure that the same can be said for you as well, for your team as well. I've been thinking about what to do for this end of the year podcast episode. I've just wrapped up interviewing another set of CEOs, mid-market CEOs. And those are going to be published here beginning in January. And I'm so looking forward to sharing these episodes with you because there's so many amazing leaders out there. I know that corporate gets a lot of flack for having poor leadership and people having really bad experiences. I want to say that I have encountered so many amazing leaders in our work that we do with both government and in corporate and even in these mid-sized companies, small companies. There are a lot of really great people that are in business and want to do good. A lot of people that have really good intentions. And I want to encourage you with that to start out with. I also want to say that even when you have good intentions don't necessarily get you the results that you want. If you want to have a place to work that is healthy, that is encouraging to the people in your teams, that people would be able to address the whole self at work and not just, be seen as a commodity or just somebody to work. Most leaders that I know actually realize that that's not healthy. It's not who they want to be as a leader. It is not good for their team. They know this. And a lot of people are putting in really interesting practices into place that encourage that whole self at work. And one of our goals at Voice of Influence is to help promote healthy work environments, places to work where people feel good about who they are and the contribution that they have to make, that their contribution would actually make a difference, that it would help the company and that the company in turn would be able to help the customers, that the whole idea of the world being a better place. That is certainly something that we really care about and what we are trying to achieve here at Voice of Influence with our clients. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're interviewing. We do lots of interviews. I have tons of conversations with people. Many of those end up on the podcast where we are looking for what are some of these best practices? What's working in different work environments? What's not working? How can Voice of Influence contribute to your success and your desire to support people as whole people at work? So this is part of what we're doing with these CEO interviews. And there's a lot of really interesting stories. You're going to be inspired. You're going to realize that there are a lot of different kinds of leaders and a lot of different leaders that have really good intentions and are doing really good things in the world. So some of the things that I want to highlight today about what does it look like to have a healthy environment at work? What makes things healthy? And we're not going to cover the whole thing, but there's certainly a lot of things that can make your environment healthy or not. But I do want to tap into a few of those today real quickly. One of the biggest things that these CEOs are saying is that a voice of influence needs to be authentic, which means that you have to know who you are. Who are you? What do you care about? What motivates you? What bothers you? What triggers you? These are the kinds of things that you can gain perspective on through journaling, through having conversations with people that you know and trust. But sometimes you really want to make a bigger move. You want to know yourself in a deeper way. You know that there is something that may be holding you back, and it might just be yourself. And that's when you want to have somebody else, a guide that can help you explore those things and actually figure out what is your voice of influence, your individual voice of influence. And that's what our coaches can help you achieve. It's amazing to me to hear the stories from our clients and from our coaches who are describing some of the transformation that they've seen and the difference that it's making in the leaders and their teams. They are coming out, standing a little taller, feeling more confident, being able to handle situations with more ease, understanding people better, feeling less offended. There's all kinds of things that you can gain from learning who you are and really defining your own voice of influence. Then there's also your message. Being a clear communicator. Clear communication is going to help your team be at ease themselves. When there is chaos in their minds, when they are confused about why you're making the decisions that you're making, about how you came to the decision that you made, about how that's going to impact them in the future, clear communication will solve so many of those concerns that people have. And it will set them at ease so that they are not on edge, worried about things and worried about the state of their job, worried about what it's going to mean for them when this change happens. So clear communication. This is another thing this is one of the reasons why we care so much about clear communication, why we've created certain frameworks to help managers and leaders to think through how they're going to present ideas, how they're going to present change, what they need to communicate along the spectrum of realizing that you need to make a change, a cultural change, or a process change, to getting people on board along in the process, planning it out, turning it into action, and then actually implementing it in the future so that it will have a sustainable impact long term. And we have a whole process. We actually have a training called the Executive Influence Playbook. And in this Executive Influence Playbook, we work with you either one-on-one or in a group setting. Usually it's that kind of director level, that mid-level manager, or when there's a merger and acquisition, we've got a new leadership team. How do we handle that well so that the transition doesn't feel like whiplash to the people who are still in their jobs and then trying to decide whether or not they want to stay? When you're acquiring a new company, you don't want to lose the great people that made that company great and made you want to buy it in the first place. So how do you go through that leadership transition so that people feel confident, clear, they understand what the expectations are, and so on? So the Executive Influence Playbook that takes you from beginning to end on culture change, on major changes within your organization, this is something that we have as a toolkit for you to be able to use, and that it's going to guide you through the process. And now here's the thing. This is interesting because when we go through it with people, most of the time, any of our frameworks, most of the time, these are good people who have already thought through a lot. They've already done a lot of transitions. Maybe they went pretty well. And when we go through the framework, they're like, oh yeah, we did that. Ooh, but we didn't do that. Maybe we need to do that. The beauty of having a framework is that it takes your own personal experience, your innate ability to communicate and that sort of thing, but it puts it in the context of a framework to make sure that you're hitting on all the things that matter to not just you, but to the whole group. So that's one of the things that we offer. We offer these frameworks and these assessments based on frameworks so that there's less question about whether or not you have what it takes or whether or not you did something correctly. It takes some of that uncertainty out of the equation so that you can move forward more quickly, you can capitalize on opportunities faster, and you can make a bigger difference in the mental health of your team because you're communicating in a way that they're going to understand, that's going to set them at ease, and that is going to help your team be able to thrive. Frameworks like these also help honor a diversity of perspective because when we go with our gut, we're usually going with our own experience and our own perspective. We're not thinking about what other people are experiencing and perceiving. And so a framework helps you to make sure that you're taking that other perspective. It allows you to be able to incorporate other perspectives in a more honoring kind of way. It also encourages respectful dialogue that is also challenging. So not just being nice, not just having a culture of niceties, but having a culture where everybody has a voice, everybody can respect each other's voices, and those ideas and challenges and the things that we do to sharpen one another can happen in a more healthy way and actually do happen. Sometimes they don't even happen because we're trying to be so nice. We're walking on eggshells. We're worried about what other people think. Another thing that happens that we've noticed with our clients is the amount of time that they spend thinking about or worrying about difficult conversations ultimately decreases. So in the beginning, when we're thinking about difficult conversations and we're using a new framework, it takes time because we have to think through each piece of the framework and practice it. But in time, it becomes more and more natural. And eventually, the amount of time that is spent worrying about these difficult conversations, spending energy, waiting too long to have these conversations, it just decreases and decreases. And pretty soon, it doesn't feel so difficult. And actually, what you're looking for is you're looking for more of that collaborative environment where people can give and receive feedback. And it doesn't feel like feedback, like that negative kind of word, feedback. But instead, it is that collaborative environment. So I wanted to encourage you that if you are really wanting to make a difference in the mental health, in the ability for your team to handle things in a more healthy way in 2023, if you're wanting to honor that diversity of perspective, if you're wanting that collaborative culture, Voice of Influence has a lot of opportunities for you to work with us on so many different levels. We have, at the very minimal level, you can do a little bit of coaching. You can participate in our Manager Sprint program. These are opportunities that we have for individuals or for companies who want to send a manager or two to a training that is going to help them to kind of give them a shot in the arm and be able to move more quickly and have some of these conversations and use some of these frameworks on that very low investment level. We also have success coaches. Our success coaches can come into your company and do training. They can do actual coaching with your team. Sometimes they have office hours. We also have group coaching. So we have various ways that you can work with our success coaches. And then on the consulting side of things, we do a number of different things, including organizational culture assessment, strategic planning, strategic intensives. We also work with executive teams and board of directors to be able to help get alignment, figure out how they can support one another in more productive and encouraging ways in order to move forward, in order to be able to capitalize on opportunity, in order to be able to navigate the difficult situations that they're facing. So On various levels, Voice of Influence is here. We love working with great leaders who have great intentions, who want to make a difference, and who want their company to not just make a lot of money, but to succeed in order to make a difference in the world for their customers and for their team. And if that is you and you are looking to make a difference in 2023 with your team, let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what can we put together for you that's going to fit your budget and your needs. Our team is here for you. We care about you. We care about your team. We care about your customers, and we care about your success. Your voice matters. Let's work together and make it matter more.